Hello everyone, welcome back. This episode of Bitcoin Trade here. I'm going to do some chart analysis, and then I'll go on to some interesting articles. So I hope everyone enjoyed their, I think it's Labor Day weekend or something like that. So anyway, it doesn't make a difference to me. I don't work anyway. So here's a chart analysis right here, okay? I don't know if you can see that. This is Bitfin on 12 hour. Sorry if it's not. There we go. And it looks like it's starting to fall a little bit. It's starting to go below 500. And you see the bar is really strong on this 12. Not strong, but it's solid. So this is an example of just looking at the candlesticks and just the average, realizing it's going down. So where's it going down? I don't know, but I did want to get some at a lower price. So actually I took about this average right around here, this low point. That's where I got some buys, and let's see if it goes through, or if it never hits and just goes back up again. So I don't know if it's going to do that or not, but if it is going down, it will eventually hit that spotted area right here, about 480. So anyways, I just want I just put some buy orders there just to get some more Bitcoins at a lower price. So anyways, that's what I'm seeing right now. Of course, this thing trades all the time, so I know Monday is like a holiday, but Bitcoin never takes a rest. So it's probably going to trend downwards all the way to Monday, I think. I don't know, I could be wrong, but it just looks that way. So that's the chart analysis. Now let me go to quick articles here, and I'll go through one. Let me see, I'll go through the first one. Okay, this is an article here, recent, and man, he could just walk free, and that's not a bad deal considering probably the struggle you had to go through and everything, being a target and all. So good for you. I'm glad he's gonna be out. Looks like someone who really is dedicated. So anyways, the reason I bring this article up is I was reading it, and this is this particular area right here. Okay, where it talks about white-collar crimes, and there was a judge. I guess that was on the case, and he wrote an editorial, and there's a link to it, and that's what actually caught my eye about the whole thing. And so let's have a look at it. And this is the link right here, and you can see that's the name of the supposed judge. And I guess it's a way to get an understanding of a judge when they write these little articles, to get after all, they are people and they have the right to express themselves in some way. So I read it, and it's pretty long. The financial crisis, why have no high-level executive have been prosecuted, and I've read it and all that stuff, but after reading it, and thinking about it, here's what I came up with. I'm not a judge, and so I don't have to be like non-biased. I have a bias, and when I look at this picture, and this is like an example of it, I love this drawing, I love this picture. Everyone's pointing at each other, they're all indicting each other as witnesses, wrongdoers, in a circle, right? They're all pointing literally just at each other. And so when I look at this, I say, wow, you know, they just all basically confess to fraud on each other. But if it's all on each other, then they all committed fraud. And so what I would what I what I would recommend would be something like they're all guilty just by what they've done, their actions alone, right there. They're all pointing, saying, "Hey, he did it," but they're all pointing at each other. So they're all guilty. And I know this seems extreme, but and this is why I can say these extreme things. Okay, I'm going to get to that a little bit later. I would say the penalty for treason, for what these entities, I'll call them entities, for what these entities have done, should be death. Treason against the people, really. And I'm not a judge. I'm biased in this whole thing, so you know, of course, that's what I would say. But go ahead and read it. But that's what I would say about this whole thing. They're all guilty, and they should actually get the guillotine. So what I'm talking about is I'm actually talking about the entities, not really like the actual executives or people, but since nobody, no real person can take the blame, I guess the blame has to go onto the entity, because that was the entity that actually committed the fraud. I don't know, that's just me after I read this. And so I would say cut the head off of this entity. Now, what are the entities? Well, obviously maybe that fat guy is like the bank or something like that. This guy looks like something from Washington, D.C., so that's the politicians, the government, and I don't know what this is, insurance guy, and then I don't know, this might be insurance guy, this might be the stockbroker, and all these other, I know there's Countrywide somewhere around in here and all that, but anyways, that's what it's like, you know, they're all guilty. So Countrywide is dead anyway, so okay, there's some government entity that needs to be dissolved, cut off of the head, and then let it die, and then maybe put something else, something real. All right, and then I don't know, you know, just figure it out. Just guillotine, and you probably don't think it's happening, but or this could happen, but you know, at some point in time, there was a time, I believe, where real people got their real heads cut off. Aren't you glad you live now, where your heads your heads are really not going to be cut off, but it's the entity's head that's going to be cut off. So that's what I would say. Yes, go for somebody's head needs to roll. So let it be the entity, right? Because they deserve their punishment. Anyways, that's something I would say. That's but I'm biased, so you know, I'm really biased, by the way, on that. So there it is. Read it. It's quite long, and the author is the judge who heard Mr. Shrem's case. All right. So it says, that's what it says here. Anyways, interesting. Okay, that's one comment that I made. I know it sounded kind of crazy, but hopefully you listened to the whole thing, you understood what I said. And then the next thing here, let me see here. Oh, this is a very interesting. This article here on Cointelegraph. I don't know who this lady is, but she's got some really interesting. This is all Q&A kind of stuff, and there's a video in here. It's all very interesting. I don't know where these people come from, but some of them have pretty strong views, and this is an interesting story. And I know people like they're out there. could exist like that, but there are. They're real. So I'm not crazy, I hope. And then what else? Okay, yes, this one. This is another great article. And there's the, I don't know where the author is. There, Bitcoin's future, proof of stake versus proof of work. And of course, this is kind of more mining stuff. But I was reading this and it got me thinking a lot. Like, what the hell is going to happen to all the miners, right? Because supposedly that's where all the bitcoins are coming from, and that's why this whole proof of stake versus proof of work. So it just got me thinking, and here's what I was thinking: like in the future, like bitcoins are going to get harder and harder to get, so it's going to be more and more expensive to mine from these mining operations, and at some point the mining pools are going to get smaller and smaller because it's going to get so harder to get that little piece of Bitcoin. But the thinking is, in my thoughts, is the prices are going to go up. So even though that little bit of Bitcoin is little, the value of it is pretty extreme. That's why people will probably still try to mine, I guess. But I think a lot of them may fall. And you're probably wondering what's going to happen to the network. Well, I was thinking about that. I was like, what's really going to happen to the network, right? On the computer side. And I was thinking, well, there's going to be just one computer, or one giant computer that's going to still be operating, and that will be the computer, the final computer, right? And I don't know if you have to go there or that location will be revealed, but that's where you're gonna have to go with your Bitcoin to get in somewhere. So that's kind of my prediction on the future. The miners, they'll start going off as disappearing, falling, or they'll stop operations because they won't make any more money, right? And so you'll see a drop in the mining pools until there's only basically one computer, probably a giant computer, one place that will still be running out of all the other mining rigs out there. There'll be this one mining rig, and that's the place that that's the final place where you got to go with your Bitcoins. I don't know, that's what I was thinking, seeing the future as when I was reading this. It was very interesting. Also read this too if you have a chance. So that's that, and that's about it here. This is kind of like my holiday weekend, but I do want to say something because there's a lot of things going on. Let me go back to here. So there's a lot of things going on, and it's kind of exciting. I'm planning to do a lot of things, and I'm going to start here where I live, because if I can get a good stronghold here, I can probably get a good stronghold in some other places. I just have to make the connections, and I have to make the network. So that's what I'm doing anyway, in my way. But anyways, I'll finish it off here on this price, and it looks like it is dropping a little more. But that's alright, it just means I can buy more at a lower price. That's how I see things. I mean, whether it goes up or down, I mean, if it goes up, the price went up. I appreciate that. When the price goes down, it just means I get some more Bitcoins at a lower price. I just see it that way all the time. So, again, I'm biased in that way too. But anyways, there's the price. It may go down. I've got orders in right about here. So we'll see if it hits. Worst case scenario, you could put something right about here too, and that's still a really good price. Really, worst case scenario, you have to pull back a little further. And let me see how far I gotta pull back. There we go. About 350. See, that's kind of right around here. That area right there. 350. So if you want a really good deal, put in some orders at 350. Considering where it's been, you know, it is a good deal. It feels like a good deal, but I think it's just ranging in price. That's what it just looks like. It just ranges in this very large range in price, and then it'll just kind of go back and up and down. What's funny is, if you were, I bet you some of this stuff looks just like when it popped to 200 and came back down from the 200 and was ranging for a while in there. I bet if you compare the same kind of chart analysis, it's probably the same. So if you can imagine the next time it starts taking off, could be anything, like gets to a point where its difficulty is too hard and a mining pool has dropped out. That could increase the value. Demand acceptance has grown wider, making it even harder and harder to get Bitcoins. That's another one. There's a lot of things. I'm using it as a, oh man, I'm doing so much with it. I'll spend some time talking about it. I guess some experience. I talked about packs, and I think I'm gonna start one now, and I'm gonna use that pack to also trade. And from what I understand, I think you can trade anonymously, and so I'm not making personal gains out of the pack, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using every cent, every dollar to see that there's no restricted use, that no one puts any restrictions on the use of Bitcoins. And that's about all I want. You know, I'm not looking to support anybody. This pack I'm making, it's meant to do one thing: attack anyone who restricts the use of Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies, because that's what Bitcoin is. And so that's all it's going to do. It's not really going to support anything. It's just going to prevent someone from restricting the use of Bitcoins. That's all it's going to do. And that's how powerful a pack is. Not only can you support an idea, but you can go against it, make sure it never even comes into existence. So if anything I learned from just being around, that's how you protect your rights. You make sure that anything that comes close to abridging it never shows up. So in this particular case, I'm going to use my Bitcoin as a weapon, and I would argue I have a right to do so because it's part of my arms. And so that's also a way for me to express myself and it's for me and my benefit. So let's see what I can do with that. So that's one of the things I'm going with. What else am I going to do? I don't know when, but at some point in time, it's a nonprofit. I'll probably do both at the same time. So I did want to do those two things. Once I get that done, the final piece would be just making more places that accept Bitcoins. And these places are not going to be converting them, they'll be trading them. So there's no processor. It'll just be taken at a price, and that's it. It's not going to be converted directly into cash. It's going to be traded, and it can be traded and used. And so you can make a trade off a trade off a trade off a trade, basically doing like 10 trades, but really you did one. So you can get really crazy with this. So creating places that accept Bitcoins, and of course it, by law, cash, only cash, Bitcoins and cash. If you got Bitcoins and you gave me one and you want to change back because well, the change needs to be given because I need to break it down, I guess you can choose legal tender or change in Bitcoins. I think that's fair. So these are, but they're not money services. They're actually goods and services that you can use. And so that's the other thing I'm doing. So how long is this going to take? I don't know. But you got to remember, I just started in November, and already these things are really happening for me. So we'll see what happens. I'll see if I can actually do any of this stuff, what the hurdles are, if there's any challenges, if there's any limitations or restrictions, how far, how much, how long. It'll all be documented. I really want to know how far I can go with Bitcoin. And so I guess in this episode it's really going to be about, like, okay, I've traded, I converted, now how can I really use this? And it's all about making it real. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and make something real now, and let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, let's see why it didn't work, because I want to know if it's still possible for one person to make a difference. Or is it still possible to for some movement to occur that will make a difference? So this is a experiment, another experiment. Anyways, I'm going to cut out here. I hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. I've taken some time to enjoy it. So anyways, feel free to comment, like, dislike, or leave a video response. Until next time, stay tuned.